This video represents 60 years of listening to music, and these are 10 albums that I still listen to and will always listen to, and some of them kind of represent different genres if you want to get into genres. But I'm going to start off with UFO. I always love this album. I love Michael Schenker's playing. Everything about this album, I heard it yesterday and I will continue listening. Always loved Southern rock, and I think this was the one of the major highlights of Southern rock. Lynyrd Skynyrd, Street Survivors, and there's no bad songs on this album. It is a great album from start to finish, and unfortunately this is just before the crash. And Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the first time I heard Lucky Man, it was like, oh, what is that? I gotta get that. And this is the album I will still go back to all the time. It's still ingrained in me. Every time I hear any of these songs on here, I'm all in, all the way. Now this represents Canadian garage rock. Ugly Ducklings came to our high school 2 or 3 times, and I got this album as soon as it came out, and they really only put out this one album at the time in the 60s, and I can still listen to this. Every song on this I listen to, and I always put them on mixed thumb drives or whatever. And another Canadian group from the same time period, the Poppers, and this featured Skip Prokop on drums, and this is just a great album too. All these albums to me are totally listenable, no bad cuts. I can listen to them at any time. And of course Neil Young and Zuma. This is my favorite Neil Young, or my second, or whatever. It's the one I would haul out and listen to probably the most. So I'm going to go with Zuma for sure. And I have the whole catalog of Jethro Tull, but for some reason, and this is the first one I ever got when it came out, this is the one I always get drawn back into. I don't know, it doesn't even have Martin Barre on it, but I love Martin Barre's playing, but there's something about this album that just draws me in all the time, and when I reach for one, hey, this was Jethro Tull. Pops out. My favorite band, one of my favorites, top 3, Jefferson Airplane. Now my last video I had albums that I don't listen to, and their first album I don't listen to. But when this came out, I heard it on the radio. There was a station in Kingston, Ontario that played whole albums at 10 o'clock at night, and this is one I heard, and I had to have it right away. And this album really got me into the blues. I mean, full into the blues. I borrowed this off a friend when it came out. And this is Mike Bloomfield and Al Cooper. And actually Mike Bloomfield's not on one side because he suffered from insomnia and he had to leave in the middle of all this. But what's on here is still great. Just jamming. Total jamming. And last but not least, one of my all-time favorites. Saw them when they did this tour, and I love this album. This is great from start to finish. So that's 10 albums. I had out 20 just like that. And this is, I only have about 300 albums left, but I can draw out 10 albums because I saved the ones that I really, really love, and I still have like 1,200 CDs there or whatever. But I had 10 more all picked out here. The Stones and Beatles, but we'll go with those ones. So long.